The responsibility that's being brought forth to you at this time in your life is a divine responsibility that's being given to you by God, because you're someone who's going to be able to do these works unto the world. They're going to be able to inspire a lot of people, lead a lot of people, bring a lot of people to a place in their lives where they're really following their own passions and their own authenticities, and not these societal or cultural narratives that are being formed for them to follow. But what you're doing by your own guidance, by your own example, is being someone who's living in authenticity, someone who lives in authenticity, who's true to their word, whose actions match the words that come out of their mouth. There's nothing that you're here to try to impress anybody. You're not here to try to position yourself in a way that looks favorable to you, to the collective conscious, the societal norm. And maybe some of your values do line up with the societal norm or the collective conscious. In some regards, I feel like there's a lot of overlap in our lives, that good qualities and good characteristics definitely are something that are fundamental in you and a lot of time in many societies. But there is also a mainstream that is selling people on these ideas of needing external validation in order for them to have some kind of internal compensation, where they feel they're going to be compensated if they receive an external validation. They're going to receive an internal compensation in the form of security, emotional security, physical security, comfort, love, affection, happiness, fulfillment. And the truth is that only that will ever be obtained if someone is living in their own integrity. And that's what's very profound, is this idea of integrity. And it's been coming up quite often as a topic in these videos, as well as many people's lives that have been interacting with this type of content, is that integrity is something where a person's words match their actions. They have accountability for those actions, and they are sure to leave before them a path that empowers people to live a life that is based off of values, based off of morals, based off of principles. This isn't something that is abstract. This isn't something that's difficult. This isn't something that is countercultural. This is just something that is just being a good, decent, moral human being, like just being a good person. And it's a way of approaching relationships with people, being able to be generous, being contributive, treat people with respect and kindness and compassion where the situation arises, and understanding too that there are boundaries to your time that you're able to give to other individuals, that you're an individual of high caliber, you're an individual of high value, and you value your time more than anything else. Because at the end of the day, time is the one thing, it's the one commodity, it's the one asset that we have that cannot be exchanged in return for more time. We can't buy more time. We can't buy more life within us. Like, we have one life to live, and once it's over, it's over. So we can't buy more time. And you understand that your time is very, very valuable to you, and who you spend it with is very, very valuable to you as well. Your inner circle right now is being selected. What I'm hearing is being selected. Like, God's going into your inner circle and he's taking out people who aren't meant to be in your inner circle, and he's adding in individuals who are going to be here, meant to be here for a very paramount, a very foundational period of your development. Or these could be individuals who also stay for the rest of your life, like lifetime long friendships, lifetime long partnerships, lifetime long communities. And that's because you're someone who's meant to be a leadership role in these communities. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a direct role. It's not like you have some kind of managerial accountability or some kind of supervisor role. While that could be a thing, you're having this sense of authority within these communities just by the way you show up, by your energy, because you're someone who's operating out of integrity. You're someone who's operating out of principles. You're someone who's operating out of morals. You treat the world around you as with reverence, with this sense of reverence, because you know that everything around you is a reflection of the divine that's within you, of God that's within you. And God is being able to channel higher conscious attributes through you to show the world, to put on display for the world that this is someone who is leading a life that is in alignment with like values and morals and just common good sensibility, having sensibility for other people, having sensibility within your own life. This could also lead to the idea of indulgence, being able to really back off of the level of indulgence that you are partaking within your life. So this is a form of that not giving yourself to energies that are requiring more and more and more, like more consumerism, like consuming more, indulging more, because you're living a path that's also in alignment with having very beautiful experiences, very sensual experiences, but not letting the senses overtake your purpose. Your purpose is here to be of an individual is operating at a high caliber, who's able to lead in these communities, lead in your workplace, lead as an employee, lead as a father, a mother, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a son, a daughter, whatever role you have in your life. You're having this leadership role where you're showing up as someone who is operating from this place of principles. And this could be, again, something that is very unfamiliar to a lot of people who've known you throughout your life. But the true people who are really supportive of you will be sure that they encourage you as you're making these positive changes. And people who don't encourage you along your path of growth are not meant to come along. Like, God's preparing a table for you, and there's been a feast, and there's been all these invitations that have been sent out to the people who are meant to come into this harvest time of your life. There's a beautiful harvest that's coming into your life at this moment. Like, you're currently in it. The tables are being prepared. The invitations already been sent out. People are opening up their letters that they got in the mail, and they're saying like, oh my God, like, yes, I'm going to come, right? And God is lining up all these people to show up into your life so that way you can have the celebration. And it's not like a one-time celebration over the course of like some evening. This is like a celebration that's going to be continuing for years and years and years and decades into the future, because it's going to be compounding. The more you celebrate, you're living in the spirit of celebration. You're celebrating life. You're being thankful for life. You're being grateful for life. You're being grateful for not just like what you have in your life, but for what other people have in their lives, because you're being able to see other people's accomplishments, other people's achievements. You're being able to see other people's blessings that they've been given from God, and you're able to praise them for that. You're able to show your gratitude that they're able to receive that. You're able to give them their kudos, and you're here to support people along their journeys as well when they're following a path that is in alignment with integrity, that their actions are actually strengthening the world, their actions and their behaviors and the words that they speak are empowering other people. They're leading other people towards things that are of high value and of high principle, and you're allowing yourself to speak into the world exactly the energy that you're looking to also see manifest within your own life, because this is what you want to have around you. These are the types of people that you want to have around you. People who act out of kindness, who act out of dignity, who act out of self-respect, who care for themselves, care for other people, people who are generous and giving and nurturing. This is like the type of people that you're seeking your collaborations with, your bondings with, your connections with, because these individuals are going to see that they're here for their own growth and the growth of everyone else around them. And they also understand, just as you're understanding, that the more that you grow, the more that you're able to grow other people. And again, this is like the master principle, is like not just being able to become the most effective person at whatever endeavor you're looking to do, but learning how to teach that quality to another individual. So if you're someone who's looking and becoming someone who is operating out of high honesty, high morality, high integrity, high levels of kindness and contribution, then you're able to teach other people these principles, to teach people these attributes, so that way they too can be individuals who are operating out of integrity, out of moral character, out of kindness and generosity and contribution. Because what this is doing is you're allowing this information, this energy to be passed on to more people, so that way they too can live this energy within their own life, and then also be an example for other people to witness that before them, to understand that these individuals who are operating from this higher caliber of behaviors, that these are the people who legacies are built after. These are the people who influence cultures, influence generations, leave legacies behind, so that way there's actual physical wealth that is being stored within people's minds and in people's bodies and in people's belief systems. You're here to empower people's belief systems, so that way the world doesn't just stop being a better place whenever you leave and you're not able to actually put forth your physical action, but just by you being able to teach these concepts to people that come after you, it's going to be passed down. This information to be passed down, and it's going to be implemented into future generations, so that way future generations are going to be able to live a life that is in accordance with their own values for themselves, where they respect themselves, they treat themselves well, they operate out of integrity. Again, they're not here to live any kind of societal, cultural norms that are actually disintegrative to the individual. There's a lot of things that are happening in media and films and in a cultural way that actually take people's accountability away. Like, people are not willing to be accountable for their actions, or they're living by this means of looking for public optics, looking for this posturing in society to show themselves as a person who has morals or character or integrity or success or finances or whatever material things that they may have. And whenever they live by that sense of validation, when they're seeking validation from an external source, while there are some good things that can come of that, because it's good to be wanting to be encouraged for like living a life that is authentically in alignment with ourselves. It's good to get the kudos and get the praise from individuals who support us, but our actions must be actions that actually encourage other people also to grow and to excel in their own lives, and encourage people to be a higher version of themselves, where they're being contributive, they're adding value to the world, not just taking a bunch of value from the world and showing the whole world the value that they have, but actually being like, hey, I'm an asset. I'm actually contributing back to the world. I'm giving back in these phenomenal ways. And that's exactly what your energy is right now. And that's why you're divinely protected, because this is like a calling, a sensation, a knowing within yourself, where it's like you're just compelled to offer this information back out to the population, and whoever hears this message, you understand, is going to resonate with it in a deeply profound way, and that they're going to be able to take these principles, take these ideas, take these concepts into their own life. And this is not about whether or not someone else actually uses the information or not. This is just the fact that you're sharing this information because this is what is needed to be done. It's being able to give people back their power. You're teaching people how to get back their power, how to unlock the power within themselves, and not give their power away, not forfeit their power away to some other kind of mechanism that is actually oppressing them. And whatever situation that may be, it may be a family dynamic, it could be a cultural dynamic, it could be a religious dynamic, it can be even in a relationship, a partnership, where they're giving their power away to another individual for validation, because the validation that they're not actually finding is the validation that's already within themselves. That when we start looking for the validation within ourselves, we find that we are already whole in and of ourselves. And when we become whole in and of ourselves, we start looking for other behavioral traits, other qualities that make us feel whole within ourselves. We start living lives, again, that are in alignment with these principles and these core beliefs and foundations that allow us to have this place that's unshakable. Like, we're divinely protected. You're divinely protected because you're listening to this message right now, and you're meant to be someone who's divinely protected. What I'm understanding is that God makes sure that the people who are here to share and spread a message, even though there's a lot of purging that may have to come as a result of letting go of a lot of things that don't serve you, that don't actually fit into the identity of the individual who you are, who's operating this higher caliber. When you let go and you purge all that other stuff that doesn't serve you, it could be things like substances or partying or toxic relationships or certain types of foods or diets or other kind of addictions or in like mental health issues even that arise that are being able to be lifted up and resolved at this time. Like the power that you have within you, it's like you're being freed from a lot of these dilemmas, a lot of these ailments, a lot of these sicknesses, a lot of these diseases, a lot of this frustration, this hurt, this uncertainty, this feelings of depression, this despondency, like all this different nonsense is being alleviated from you, because that's the identity of an old version of yourself that is not an individual that's empowered to help spread the message of empowerment, of being able to be someone who is effective on this world, spreading a message that is empowering to other people, who's going to change the world in a significant way. Because again, it's not only about learning these behaviors and learning these characteristics and becoming one with these and becoming a better version of yourself and increasing yourself every single day, but it's about being able to master this in a sense where you're able to teach other people as well how they are able to live a life that is in alignment with a value system that is unshakable, that is protected, that is here to add favor and goodness to the world and to integrate people, not disintegrate, not segregate, but integrate people into themselves, into society, into a society where there's a lot of different belief systems, there's a lot of different cultural ideas, religious ideas, spiritual ideas, a lot of different things that people are seeking that, again, may not be in alignment with your value systems, but it's okay because you're here to teach value systems to the people who are desiring that, and also to be around people who have value systems that maybe you aspire to partake as well, because there's a lot of people out there I feel like you're going to be inspired by, and you're meant to link up with these individuals. And when you link up with these individuals, you're able to have this conscious that collaboratively works together and synergistically makes a lot more effective work of the amount of purpose and fulfillment that comes into the world by a result of your actions. So your actions are very powerful at this time. You're meant to be someone who is operating from this foundational place, so that way you can live by example. You're going to be blessed so abundantly in your finances, in your relationships, in your friendships, in your emotional state, in your mental state, in your physical state, in a lot of different ways in your life. You're going to be tremendously blessed because it's meant for you to be blessed. So that way there's an example of people who are thriving on a phenomenal level, who are living lives of integrity. So that way the world can know that there is a lot of beautiful things that come from being a person who has high values and high regard for themselves and for other people. So again, contribution is very big in this time of your life. So you can be called to creating certain kind of organizations, or being a part of certain kind of organizations, or starting something online, some kind of work that is actually going to be able to empower the world around you. This could be anything from helping out your local communities and helping people who need assistance. This could be like either individuals who are of older age, or even children who are coming from like foster care. This could be like working with animal welfare. This could be working in reforestation efforts around your community. The list goes on and on and on and on. But you're being able to offer your time and your energy and even some other resources that you have to these communities, because this is what you understand, is that the world is an existence that operates in a yin and yang frequency, right? There's the opposite of each energy that is given off. So for instance, in this case, like giving and receiving, they're two different energies, but they're both necessary and required for the completion of the exchange. So in order for there to be a giver, there has to be a receiver, and for there to be a receiver, there has to be a giver. So you're going to be receiving a lot of phenomenal blessings in your life, like phenomenal blessings, but there is a responsibility and there is a requirement for you to give just as profoundly as you receive, because you need to balance the equation. That's the way this works. It's kind of like mathematics. When you have mathematics, you have an equation, there's an equal signs in the middle. Both sides have to equal out. So if you take, a part of this and you put it on a part of this other side, then a part of this has to match up on the other side. So if you don't balance out the equation, your life becomes imbalanced. So if you're going to be receiving a lot from life, you understand that you have to give back just as much to life in order for you to balance the frequencies, balance the equation, balance the energy of what's coming into your life. So understand that if you do have these big goals and big desires and big dreams, and whatever extent that is, that it's going to require a lot of giving in return for what you're going to receive. But it's meant to be a form of giving that is led by inspiration, that is led by integrity, that is led by feelings of generosity, like you're wanting to do this. This is not something that you're doing just because you feel like you're compelled to do it or you have to do it. And this shouldn't be something that you feel obligated to do. That's not the energy that is what we're talking about. We're talking about like authentically working in ways that empower the people around you, empower the culture around you, empower the community around you, but doing it from a place that it's actually what you want to do, because you want to see everything around you to thrive. You want to see the people around you thrive. You want to see the communities around you thrive. You want to see things get better and better and better, because it's an individual, the type of individual that you are. You're an abundant individual, and abundance doesn't just stop with you. It is an energy that is poured out into the life all around. And this is what true wealth is. You're a person who's operating out of wealth. It's not about just you receiving all these blessings from the universe where you can just like go and flaunt them, right? And go post on social media about like all the great stuff that you have. It's about like actually being like, okay, well, this is what I've been blessed with, but this is what I'm doing with what I've been blessed with. This is how I'm giving back. This is how I'm being an effective person in society. This is how I'm being an individual that is actually adding value back to the community. This is how I'm able to give in ways that many people don't give. They're not willing to give. They're a lot of people, a lot of societies, a lot of cultures are based off of this idea of what is it that I can do as an individual, so that way I can explore, all of this, all of these, I guess, benefits that come from being successful or accomplishing certain things. But it is always more tailored towards like a selfish end, like self-seeking, like how can I serve myself? How can I help myself? Like what can I do for myself? And it's all me, 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 me. A lot of times it's me, 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 me. And the actual contribution aspect, the giving back, the actually adding value to the world isn't as much put a spotlight on in many ways. But you're changing that narrative, you're changing that programming, you're changing that culture of the world, and you're someone who's meant to inspire other people to do the same. So that way it becomes not about what I have, but what I am giving. That's the new energy that's coming into this world right now. It's how much are you contributing? That's how much are you contributing? And it's like you're almost like showing the world like how much you're contributing. Not, again, this is not a competition. You're not trying to outcompete other people's contributions, but you're doing it because you're saying like, this is what I want people to not to know me by, but to know that this is something that is beautiful to do out on the world, to help out cultures, to help out other individuals, to grow societies, to grow the people, the values of the people. You're adding value to the world in this way, where you're raising the values of other individuals, and together you guys are raising the value of the earth in many, many, many different ways. So you're very empowered right now, and this is how you're thinking right now. It's like, how much can I give? How can I give more? Because you also know that you're meant to receive more, but it's like you're not here to wait for you to receive more. It's like now is the time for the action, where you're presupposing all of the beautiful things that are going to come into your life by giving out of gratitude and thanks and conscious thought, deliberate thought, to be thankful and grateful for the time that you have, the energy that you have, and understanding that you have a responsibility to go out there and be a part of the culture of society, whether that be in your physical community or an online community or whatever way this shows up for you. You're meant to spread your message that is here to inspire other people and lead other people to lead lives that are contributory, like contributing back to the world. So if you have a business or you have some kind of organization or you're doing some kind of creative act on the internet, just understand that what you're going to receive is not only massive amounts of people that come your way who are meant to find what it is that you're able to offer, but you're also going to show these individuals that the influence that you have, the power that you have by being able to have these audiences, that you're showing that contribution and giving and generosity and making the world a better place and raising the values of the people around you is what is so fundamental and so important. This is the type of culture that you're looking to see again in your own life and the life of those around you. So again, God has removed certain people from your life, certain situations from your life, maybe even certain habits from your life that just weren't serving you because they weren't in alignment with an individual who is operating at a higher caliber. And if you were to try to degrade yourself or demoralize yourself or devalue yourself by keeping certain people or keeping certain habits, keeping certain behaviors into your life, then you wouldn't be able to fulfill the purpose that God has for you at this time. So it's a thing where it's like a part of the protection that you've been given is going to require this sense of duty of ensuring that you have the right habits and the behaviors and the moral consciousness to show up in the world in a way that is empowered, because you're going to be shown your way to certain individuals too who are operating at very high levels in the world, who have a lot of influence, a lot of power, a lot of resources that are going to be able to help out so many people. And you're going to have the plan of action for these individuals to link up with, so that way you can mediate and flow through these resources to make the world a better place. You're going to be very profound in this type of mediation that you have, and you're like a mediator again for God. It's like you're just like here to do God's work, right? You're only here to do God's work. And the beautiful thing is that along the way you're going to be blessed and you're going to be supported in profound ways that you wouldn't be able to if you were living like a lower type of a lower quality of life, you know. And this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to ascend into this place where you're meant to rub shoulders. Not even rub shoulders, but become partners with some of the most influential people in this world, whether that be on a public space or in a private space. But you're able to like get into the rooms with these people who have these very high levels of understanding of what reality is, of how existence works. And also they understand their own power and influence that they have in this world, and they're very wise at how they show up in the world. They're very deliberate with how they show up in the world, because they understand that the amount of power that their word has and their actions have can influence entire cities and states and countries of people to make certain decisions or act in certain ways. And what you're here to do again is to do things that are going to be favorable for all people who are operating out of integrity and people who aren't operating out of integrity, people who are living lives that are fulfilled and people who are living lives that are in places that are kind of like lost in some senses. But you're here to help out everybody, and you're here to be an example to show people that we get to choose the life that we want to have. We get to choose to remain in any kind of illness or ailment or disease or addiction or fear or lack or uncertainty, insecurity that we want to. If we want to, we can do that. We can continue to do that. But we also have the power to understand that we don't have to participate in any of those things despite our conditioning. And we can change our conditioning at any time. It can be a process. It may take some time depending on how reinforce that conditioning is, but the conditioning can be changed over time. And that's something that's very empowering, that you're able to just let people, maybe even repeat throughout your actions, throughout your words, through the way you show up in life. You keep showing other people that you may have changed even things that you don't resonate with anymore, like certain behaviors, certain kind of habits, certain kind of ways you talk. Like you've changed those things about yourself, and you keep showing up in this new version of yourself where you're operating with new integrities, new morals, new values, new actions, new behaviors. And you're just continuing to operate in this way where you're reaffirming and reinforcing these characteristics about yourself. So that way you can also just show up in the world authentically. And then also, whenever the case does come up, which I feel that it may from time to time, where you're able to share your story of like where you come from, you're able to be authentic about it and be like, hey, look, this is where I was, and this is where I was at because of the conditioning that I had as at a younger age, my peer group, my family dynamic, what I was taught by my culture, my upbringing, whatever the case may be. And also understanding that that's not an excuse to carry that out into adulthood, right? But understanding that whenever you came to the realization that you are someone who can change your background, you can change your belief systems, you can change what you're raised with, you're able to show by your example that you made these changes. And now it's like the person that you're able to bring up from the past to tell people about is like not even you, but it's a version of yourself that once was, that you're able to like beautify in a way that is serving to the people around you. And you're here to inspire people that may be going through situations that you've gone through at a time in your life, so that way they can understand that, hey, like, you know what, I don't have to be doing this stuff either. Like I can make a change. If that girl can make a change, then like at least I have a little bit of hope that I can give this a shot too, and I can perhaps have some kind of profound or even moderate change in my life that is actually going to be able to alleviate me from whatever kind of feelings of suffering or sadness or fear or hurt or pain that I may have in my life. But being able to live a life where you're living out of a sincere drive to do good into this world and add fulfillment in this world, be fulfilled yourself, but also fulfill other people. Because that's another thing about fulfillment and of mastery, right? It's like if you want to master becoming fulfilled, if you want to master being a person who's fulfilled, it's learning how are you able to fulfill someone else's desires, healthy desires, right? How are you able to fulfill someone else's dreams? How are you able to fulfill something else for someone else that is going to help them and make them feel like they're filled with purpose? Because kind of going back to that whole equation thing I was explaining earlier, is like it's the balance, right? For the receiver, there has to be the giver, and for the giver, there has to be the receiver. For you to receive fulfillment from life, you have to feel what it feels like to be the giver of that fulfillment too. And that's where you really are able to draw in that complete understanding that it's not about just receiving fulfillment, from life and being fulfilled by life by doing all the things that you always wanted to do and receiving all the things you always wanted to receive. But it's like being like, how would I feel if I was the world, if I was God, if I was the universe giving these things to myself? How would I want to give that to myself? I would want to give that to myself to see myself be fulfilled, right? Because that's what the universe is doing. It's pouring into you because it wants to see you be fulfilled. It wants to see you be fulfilled. So it's like putting yourself in that place where now you are the universe pouring into other people because you want to see other people be fulfilled. That's where that balance of the equation comes into play. And then now you become the giver, right? You become the giver of that fulfillment to other people. And that's what's really profound. And that's what's making you become this person of high caliber and moral and integrity and of influence and leadership that you're meant to be, because you're able to show people that it's not about just the receiving the stuff, but it's like giving the stuff is just as equal, just as important as the receiving of the stuff that you have, whatever that is, whether that be a financial amount or a material amount or a social amount, like your status in society or your reach or your influence in society, whatever it is. It's like being able to like, hey, if I'm going to receive all this stuff, I have to give all this stuff back. I got to add value back to the world, right? How would it feel like to see someone else's dreams come true? How would it feel like to make someone else happy, right? If you want to have the happiest life, you want life to give you happiness, right? You want the universe to give you happiness. Then you have to feel what it feels like to give someone else happiness, to see someone else feel fulfilled, to see someone else be happy and excited, enthusiastic and passionate and driven and motivated, and someone else just even feel like supported in whatever ways that is. Giving kindness, giving this just values that keep on perpetuating themselves, and you're just showing up in the world in this way. You're showing up in the world in this way. You're showing up in the world in this way, and you're balancing the equation so that way that when you receive these massive amounts of blessings that are coming into your life, you're able to balance out the equation to be like, hey, look, it's not just about me, right? Because everything that we have is just on loan while we're alive, and once we're gone, like that stuff stays back here, right? So all that stuff is going to go to the next culture, the next people, the next whatever it is. So it's not about what we have. It's about understanding that this stuff is just like on loan. You know, it's temporarily in our possession until it passes on to the next person. So seeing all of our assets, all of our resources in life as God's resources, we're able to realize that also everything else is a reflection of that God creation, and we're able to give back now in that way that we're being able to be received by God, by this divine consciousness that leads us all. So that's very powerful for you to just kind of remember and keep in mind, is the protection that you have right now it's untouchable, it's unshakable right now, and you're meant to do very, very profound things, very good things in this world, and you're going to continue doing good things in this world, and the right people are going to be led to you while you continue growing these communities, being involved in these communities, volunteering, giving back, and being someone of high caliber who operates not just for themselves out of selfishness, but for the people around them, to inspire people around them, lead other people around them, grow other people around them, see other people's dreams come true, see other people become very, very happy, very, very supported, feeling like, you know, they're living in their authenticity, where they're not having to try to shape themselves or mold themselves into something that they're not, but actually just being who they're meant to be and operating at that level. So this is all stuff that's kind of unfolding in your life journey. This is stuff that's going to keep unfolding in your life journey as the years pass by, but this is just something that you're already consciously aware of. Like, oh my God, like there's a lot of things that you feel compelled to operate from, like places you're compelled to operate from, and more will be revealed within time. So we're not meant to get it all right in a sense now, that we're not meant to know everything right now, but it's as we practice this again and we put forth we be resourceful, right? We become resourceful with what we currently have, not waiting for what it is that we're expecting to receive, but being resourceful for what we have right now and already beginning to balance the equation out, give back, and start being in the vibration of like, whatever it is that I want to receive, how would that feel if someone else were to receive that? And how can I go about my life to make sure that they receive that in whatever way it is, and begin to feel that energy of what it feels like to be an individual who is living in that giver energy, and then being able to be like, okay, so this is what it feels like to give, and then this is what it feels like to receive too. So again, it's all within a healthy dynamic. So just trust your own intuition and also your own communications that you have with God or whatever you connect to, just to feel that everything that you operate, especially when you're giving to certain individuals, that you're giving to the right individuals and you're giving to the right organizations, and you're leading yourself down a place that is actually in alignment with your value systems and all that, of course. And you're going to be able to have your intuition really guide you in this way, because you're not meant to give to everybody and just anybody. There are certain people you're meant to give to, and you'll know who those people are, because there will be people who are actually in your path because you're here to grow alongside you, or to be at least inspired by what it is that you do or you say. Even if it's a small interaction, it's someone that you meet along your way just for like, a moment, and you just never come across them again, but they're meant to receive some kind of blessing or some kind of word of inspiration that you say that actually empowers them in their life, and to whatever degree that is, whatever way and to extent they take it. But you're just here to let people know, like, hey, look, you're empowered, you're in control of your life, you can make the changes, and you're meant to make the changes if you decide to. And you'll be able to share your experience, you'll be able to share like how you show up in the world, and you'll be able to also again add this value back to the world, like raise the values of the people around you. Because honestly, when the people around you's values shift and they're raised, everyone just operates at a higher frequency. Everyone operates at a higher caliber. So it only makes sense for you to raise the frequency and the energy and the morale and the character of the people around you. And the people who are willing to accept that, they're going to be able to take that with a place of excitement and enthusiasm. And the people who are not wanting to make the changes, that's okay. Like, this is not something that's required, right? Like, people don't have to do this. Like, people don't have to do this. You understand that you're here to do this with the people who are wanting to do this alongside you, because this is what you're creating. Like, again, God's redefining your inner circle right now to make sure that people who are operating at a high caliber, who are conscious of the energy of growing life, like truly wealthy people just don't think about themselves. They think about everything, themselves and everything else involved, other people, the society, the culture, everything like that. And they come from this place of wealth where they want everything to thrive, they want everything to grow, they want everything to flourish. So it's not about holding on to anything that doesn't reflect that. So you're operating from these values, these morals, these principles. You're massively protected right now, and you're going to do very beautiful work on this world. So just allow yourself to purge whatever it is that you may still be purging. Continue to practice the behaviors and the habits that you have been developing and you've been integrating into yourself, whether it be something you've been working on for weeks, months, or even years. Continue to take those actions and participate in those behaviors that make you more confident within yourself, more secure within yourself, more humble within yourself, and then also more giving and nurturing to other people. And you're going to continue to grow, and you can continue to thrive in this world. So that's what I want to share with you today. If you can, as always, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, leave a comment or a donation. I have the donation link in the description. All donations, 20% of them, go to supporting animal welfare, reforestation efforts, and the recovery community. So you help out a lot of people by doing so. And I'll go ahead and I'll catch you here in the next video. So as always, I love you guys, and I'll see you then.